clap. No. Hey, everyone.
Oh, what? Okay.
Oh, damn it.
Wow.
Yes! And that one is recorded. Awesome. We are back. We're doing the final. We're just gonna do the final talk about the Crag, all the details, things they want to know, things you want to know, and we're just gonna talk about it and finally have a moment of catharsis after this very stressful long campaign. Um, Introduction: there was a whole bunch of dwarves a long time ago, and we're here in the Crag now. So forget all of them. This was great. Um, I want to start off just by saying thank you all again. I do want to have everybody say their names. I have a couple of things I wanted to go through to make sure we got. I wanted to talk a little bit about what happened before you all started because there's things that I know happened before the game started that no only one of you all at a time know about, and I want to talk about
Mm.
that so it's on the table for everybody. And then after that, we can go into anything anybody wants to talk about. But before I do that, I found my sticky note, and I want to thank
Nice.
for the map One Day GM. He is at www.fiverr.com/onedaygm. All of the token art and the art of Giant's Bridge, as well as the other NPCs, were all done by Artemiz Art, spelled Artemizyyart. Artemizyyart. You can find him at Fiverr at that name. And then the overlay that I've been using for like the different Crag Cam and the different videos and things, it was done by Fuzzy Design. www.fiverr.com/fuzzy design. So those are the people who have made all the other parts of this possible. It would not look as pretty without them. And the artwork I love. The artist that we worked with was phenomenal. She put a lot of work and she did a lot of revisions of different pieces as well. So just top notch. Um, the only thing I wanted to say beforehand is that I wanted to just give a little bit of background because I know all of us wanted a game I asked what you all wanted, and you all wanted a game that felt very like gritty and visceral, and I got a lot of like, you know, Conan the Barbarian vibes out of a lot of it, a lot of what people wanted. So I guess my first question, and this is to kick everything off: do you feel it did that?
Yes,
Yeah.
most definitely. From the moment you stepped into the crag, it was like, okay, you're gonna die now. Whether it's frostbite or frostbite. Or did we mention frostbite?
Frostbite. Yes. Uh,
Yeah.
so we can go through like pre stuff and then just go through session at a time and just kind of talk about what was happening in the different sessions. Or we can freeform if anything else comes up. That's kind of how I planned it, just so we go through all the sessions and talk about what happened in each one of them. Um, but if you
Share our
all have
own
any
pre.
other ideas, you're more than welcome to do that too. What's up?
Do you want us to share our own like pre-stories and background to get
Sure, go
us
for
more
it. I feel
involved in
like
that?
that's good because I don't think you all knew what was happening before we kicked it off. Like it was just me talking to you all individually. So go ahead and talk. Yeah, if you want to talk about what happened beforehand, you're more than welcome to.
Well, since it was my idea, I suppose I can kick that off.
Yeah, go for it.
So, I guess a lot of Brahm's backstory was he was in the military. You're all aware of that now. Um, I was commissioned to go with a whaler to find a hidden tomb, possibly full of metal weapons, and then to not let any of them leave and disrupt the festival by any means necessary. Not necessarily killing you all, but making sure that none of you take anything and can fight with it.
This was the
So
so this we knew this festival was coming.
I knew this.
Was that?
Yes, yes,
Oh,
yes.
okay.
Yeah, I think
We all knew the
everybody knew
festival was
that.
coming in the the prologue at some
Mhm.
point. Appellee's dropped that, but so that was my
So
charge.
you
My marching orders of sorts was
so
to.
you knew that like you were like the tomb was going to be made of metal and all that.
So to an extent, I knew that there would be metal there. I didn't know like giant steel, like Star Wars esque room kind of a thing, but knew that there would be metal and weapons there that could sway the festival. and allow the dragons to take back over the crag. So,
Mm.
yeah, I guess I knew that going into it.
He also knew that Meron freaking was a zombie and that Tresgar did control the zombie. Like from
Did
part one.
which which I played out very cleverly when Tresgar done fucked up and cast Zone of Truth.
Mm-hmm.
And
Right.
instead of me having to rat him out to everybody and not you not trusting me, what was better was Tresgar ratting himself out
Self
to
out.
everybody.
Right.
Yeah,
That
we're
was
gonna talk
crazy.
about
Well,
that zone of truth spell. That one
yeah,
was a big one. Because Tresgar cast it on himself and he was not under zone of truth. He did succeed his saving throw.
I figured he did. I figured
So
he did.
he did not have to tell that at all if he did not want to, but because you all at the time were worried about who somebody in the room was betraying you, he decided to use that opportunity to make you all think he did not, that he was under zone of truth, but he did not fail. We're going to talk about that one a lot when we get to the Tresgar episode inside of that town. But yeah, Hog, let's go to you. Where did Hog come from, first of all? Because I don't think everybody knows. And just like, how did he feel
Yeah,
coming
it's
into
funny.
this thing?
There's always like backstory, and I mean, you could let the backstory loose at any point. Like it could be like, "Hi, I'm Brom. Nice to meet you. Hi, I'm Hog. I come from a small town in a poor family, and I've been through." Like you could let it go, but um, it
Yeah.
usually doesn't come out unless it's forced to by some sort of interesting circumstances. So,
Hmm.
but yeah, Hog was from a
I was like,
Oh, did he freeze?
oh, Trevor, no.
He
it's so
froze.
unfortunate. He made it through all sessions perfectly until now.
Right.
No!
Yeah.
Oh no!
I think we lost him.
Oh,
oh.
no.
Got it.
Oh wait, you're
Oh,
back.
you guys hear me?
You coming back?
You were froze for a
Okay,
while.
cool. Because everyone was frozen, and I was like, that means it's me.
Gotcha.
Okay. I was like, oh no, Apelli's. Oh, it's me. Okay. Anyway, yeah. So Apelli's asked me to like. I think he said, "What's the name of this?" Because I chose Paladin. We all chose our class. We all chose. Oh no,
There
Yeah,
goes
Joe's
Joe.
go. Oh, he's back.
There we go.
that's weird. Because I have amazing internet. If there's one like,
One thing Taiwan does right, it's
And
internet.
he's yeah.
if there's one thing I have, it's weird that I'm losing connection. But uh, maybe I was so bad that I kicked Joe out. Anyway, so um, we all chose our classes, right? And I wanted to. Every time I play a new campaign, I always want to choose something like what's something I haven't tried yet. I've tried Rogue, I've tried Wizard twice. I've tried a lot of things. I wanted to try a Paladin, someone with a tenets of devotion. I wanted to test a character who had to stick to something that like he believed in so strongly that it would trump any other sort of decision making
Yeah.
Hmm.
factor. Um,
hmm
and when Apelles asked what was the name of this organization, I said the Lumostat because Lumos means light, and a stat like a thermostat is something that keeps temperature, keeps heat, and so a Lumostat is something that keeps light. And when the
Huh.
Lumostat sent Hog
Yeah.
to uh, uh, to Tresgar,
Hmm.
Tresgar was like my next step. He was like, go meet with this person. That's your mission. And so I came from a place of trust in Tresgar because he was like literally my mission. I ended up traveling with Brom, and I met you guys on the way. Someone told me like the next step is to meet Vaga, and then we met Milo on the way. But the whole time, Tresgar was like this person that I was supposed to go meet with, coming from um, yeah. So that was I think the hardest probably for you guys didn't really have any special connection to any reason to trust Tresgar um, anymore. But
I did not
Hog
trust
really did.
Tresgar.
Right, and I think you even knew way
Yeah.
more, and it was interesting that we were traveling together, and I had you had so much idea, and I had no idea, but it was literally my quest to trust him. So it was an interesting how that played out, and it was interesting in the last battle too, like how I was the only one fighting to listen to him.
Oh yeah.
And yet at the end, obviously, we're all happy with the way it turned out. Probably for the best that we murdered his ass, so to speak. But I
So
think
to speak.
yeah, I think it was interesting that like I think I hope I played Hog right in the sense that like I was the only one willing to listen a little longer, but that was only because of the organization. Anything else? I don't know. A Hog came from a fishing town, a whaling town, so most of his stuff was made of bone. I described that a few times, but um, then we got the bronze plate, which is cool. So yeah.
Yeah.
Anything
I will
Probably
else?
won't
say
want to wear that
I
after
did know
this
more.
point. But what?
I was just gonna say like you made a comment about me knowing more, but like I was real concerned that Apelles was gonna end up making me fight you guys.
Oh yeah, that was a
Multiple
real
Because
times.
like
possibility.
He
the
attempted
any
that
like
multiple
time you guys
times.
tried to like take those weapons out, it was my job to pick a fight and fight to the death over it. And so
Yeah.
like I was like, I can't tell them things because I might die because of it.
Yeah, I was waiting, but
I
you
was
never
real
did.
concerned.
But y'all never
I didn't
did.
leave. I didn't leave until I knew that cursed armor could not leave that building.
Yep.
Ooh.
Cause yeah, it's
I
hella
will
cursed.
say, I was like, I think Trevor, you did a really good job with that. You were talking about like
Uh
the nuance
huh.
of
Yeah,
Hog,
that
and
was
you know what I
great.
mean. Like, I think you did a really good job sticking the character, and like the internal. I think it was funny because the conversations that you would like come out of character for, and then jump back into character, they actually sounded like Hog, what Hog would have went going through in his head
Mm-hmm.
in that type of situation. So it actually played into what you were trying to do without you even knowing it. Because it's like, okay, I'm fighting against myself, this other self of mine
Mhm.
that isn't that that doesn't believe the Loomis, that thinks that there's got to be something else that's going on here. But I'm so caught on my convictions that I have no choice but to fall back to that every time. So like having you actually come out of character actually helped you play being in character that much better.
Like it helps you see like okay, it was nice to watch Hog
To
think,
watch the intercom
like to watch him
conversations.
think about things. Like it was just like
Yeah.
there was just so many things that happened where Hog had to just stop. And I love playing. I apologize for this now, but I love playing on Hog's conscious because Hog is the only one amongst everybody really who has one. Vaga has somewhat of one, but Vaga is more reserved in a lot of his beliefs.
You mean
But
conscience?
yeah, like you
Yeah.
care
I
about
think
like
I
not
like the conscience. And I mean, like we all had. I mean, Brahm was the hardiest of the guy. You know, the most warrior esque. So like, conscience would be a different sort of connotation there. But I
I
don't know.
think that's a
I
good
don't.
point. Like
Was
everybody
Hog really
has
the one
their
who had the
own
conscience?
like a lot of them had their own morality scales about what you all found was important to do. But
Right.
one of the things I
Hog was more
enjoyed
absolute,
about the
maybe
Crag is that
to a fault.
I think it kind of makes like it was clear that maybe this is a better way to put it. It was clear that Hog was not from the Crag.
Mm.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Right? His morality
Mm.
scale is more somebody who lived in a normal life. It didn't live in a
Area
place where there was war and killing people all the time and scraping. Where everybody else's like
where every decision you
morality
make
was a lot more
instantly.
like based in survival,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Whereas Hog is more theological, more um, ethical in some ways, but but ethical from where he was from, not ethical like in the Crag.
Yeah.
And
A bit idealistic for
that's
somewhere.
the word.
So
Yeah. We're all thinking we have 20 seconds to make a choice, or the crag will make it for us.
Yeah, Will.
And and Hog is like trying to think it out and talk it through.
He's like, we can't just become monsters because of the environment, and you're all like, or we could survive. But
Right.
I wanna go through all the things. So let's go to Raymond Milo's, because first of all,
Backstory or
just to put it out there, what's going on with the horns? Can you
So,
tell everyone what the heck was going on with that the whole goddamn
Yeah.
time? Because you never told
so
anyone, and
oh,
I
I didn't tell
didn't
anybody
push it.
anything.
So what? Can you just
I just
tell
let
them what
it
the hell
go.
that was?
So I guess within my family and our bloodline, we are either we turn as at a certain age, depending on our decisions that we make in life. So there are those that are the defenders who become a ram. They straight out will turn into a ram. Hence, when that last fight happened and I turned fully, that was like I was waiting for that to happen. But the other option is that if you don't have to be the defender, you become a satyr, and it's like this friendly lithe entertainment, which is like at the end where you saw my sister start turning. She had her hooves. She's actually the first one in
A long
many
time.
generations that has been able to turn into a satyr or start that process of turning into a satyr. And like as like for example, like when my horns first started sprouting out, I could have easily, depending on decisions I made, I could have turned satyr. But because of my actions and you know what I'm saying and decisions that I made, the horns began to sprout more and more. And it's like once you go to a certain point, that's what you are from there on out. So eventually I literally would have turned into a ram, never to be able to turn back into a halfling. Depending on what happens, that will be my eventual end. So,
Nah, you end up like your dad.
oh, okay.
It just means
Well, there
like
you
you
go.
can't.
He
You,
didn't even roll on that one. He knew that.
yeah,
Yeah,
but you end up like your dad. Like, and that's kind of what you are at this point, and that is the ability to turn into the ram as necessary. Your Fey presence ability becomes turning into the ram for
turn into the round.
intimidation, but it's for intimidation only and not like charming,
Yeah.
right? So
So I can no longer charm. I just we go heads up.
we gonna fight.
Literally, we
So
going heads up. So that's him. And then the cracks in his skin, the light blue, that was from the Fae. Actually died as the Reckoning and was brought back by
Mesor.
Mesor as his guardian for the Forest. So
Ah.
technically, that's why I've got it
Were
because
you
of
a
the power.
revenant?
Pretty much,
No, he was not. He was not a revenant, but he was,
but
and
that
he was
that
not
idea,
New
undead.
Oscar
He
for
was
him.
resurrected. This is very different. So the divine senses didn't pick up undead on him. He just came
right?
back to life. But when Vaga found him on the stump, he was not unconscious. He was dead,
Yeah,
and he came back once you found him. But he died out there on the stump and got to meet Mesor, like, because he was dead.
and that's how I got my warlock abilities. So, actually, what I was kicked out of my home because our family was looked down upon because we were the protectors.
Hmm.
Within the halflings, we actually were looked down upon by our own people due to the dragonkin not liking people fighting back. And since the halflings were the easier race to control, they used us for everything until we started fighting back. And so with that, I killed somebody at a younger age, and in order to keep my family from being ostracized and kicked out, I left. And so that's when the reckoning became the reckoning at that point. So I kind of followed around and I was taking people out of Dragonkin out of their seats of power and basically eviscerating them, to remove them. Hence the reason that the one first city we were in, the mayor, I had cut him at his kneecaps or
Yeah,
like
he
just sliced his
kneecapped him
legs off
bad.
at the knees
Mm.
at that point in time because he was doing some shady stuff.
Yeah.
But they finally caught me, and that's what led me to leave, like to flee into the forest, and I basically bled out on the stump, and that's when that happened.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. So
And then Joe, there's a lot. There's a lot that Vaga has in his past
I'm
he
very
didn't mention
excited
at
for
all.
Saga.
Vaga, you
I
want
did
to?
speak Elvish to Vaga.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, you want to Illumistat,
When?
I
Illuminatus,
sometime
Illumistatus.
Ooh,
I think
that's different.
we were in the library. Was it the library? I forgot when it
I
was.
think it was the
Someone
mm,
spoke.
library.
Someone spoke Elvish, and then he responded in Elvish, and I heard him speaking, and I responded in Elvish too, because
yeah,
Vaga this whole time has had like an Elvish, an elven father, but he just got, I guess, all his orc body DNA. Like he was sort of going. The Lumistot sent Hog to handle this
Oh yeah,
thing specifically because he looked like an orc, because he
Right.
looked more orc than elf.
Hardier.
Hmm.
But yeah, it wasn't a huge secret. But anyway, sorry to
yeah.
hog the
I
line
don't.
there.
I forgot
Yeah, we
about that, but yeah,
I didn't know that. Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah.
Holgram
He
is
kept
not
saying like
half
when
orc,
you
half
grabbed your
human.
character, kept saying he was an orc, but that's just because that's what he looked like.
Right.
Yeah,
That's
he's
always
half
like
elf.
that.
Oh wow.
His other half is a human. It's half
It's
elf.
interesting because there's two different, like status wise. There's half elf or half orc, two different races you can play, but I
Hmm.
chose half orc. Anyway, Avaga.
Yeah, and yeah, there was a lot that kind of I forget who like mentioned this. It's like it's not. I think Trevor, you said it. There's a lot of like backstory that isn't going to come out unless someone asks about it, and not a whole lot of you asked why I was in the crag or like where I was from or why I was here. It's
Hmm.
just sort of like
Took it.
or sometimes you would ask, I think you might have asked like what am I doing here or whatever, but and I gave a vague answer and no
Hmm.
one ever pressed me on it. um
They did
That's
not at
another thing
all,
too, because
but
it's
that's
not
but
it's
fine.
not that no one ever asks. It's more that like when you sit down at the campfire, okay, you guys are traveling on the road. You sit down to do you light a fire? Yes, we light a fire. Okay, and we could narrate like as we're at the fire, like so why are you here? And it's not like Vaga's just going to be sitting like, let me tell you everything. That doesn't happen.
Right.
So
Yeah, but
yeah,
it's hard to exposit organically.
I think also you all.
That's just an RP challenge. So.
I think also you all played your characters very well, and characters who live in the crag are more guarded. Right? They're not gonna tell everybody all their
Hmm.
secrets because something coming out could be
I
life
mean,
or
it's
death at
survival,
any
right?
moment.
Yeah, like I don't trust people. You don't have
yeah,
to trust me. That's fine. As long as you're not trying to stab me when I'm sleeping, we probably won't have a problem.
Exactly.
Right. Right.
yeah.
Exactly. And you all
Yeah.
prove that you don't
But it's
have to
like
be like know everything to still be good friends, right?
Right.
yeah, like so um I made Vaga from an Egyptian like elvish society in the desert far to the south. It's like, all right, what's a good reason for him to like go up to this frozen north? Because I wanted to do like this like Amun Ra like uh, light domain cleric. Because I'm like, hey, let me use fire spells in this ice environment. This will be really useful.
Uh-huh.
Um,
Sure was.
It
and
was a lot.
Yeah.
yeah,
Ah.
It
oh
was a
god,
lot. Yes.
mechanically, I didn't even realize how useful I was until we started playing. Um,
Yeah, you
Oh,
put
but
them all
the
in the
first
box.
the
uh,
first Nova where you killed all the Dragon Ball
Yes.
warriors, that's
That
when it
was
really
hilarious.
clicked and everyone's like, "Oh, oh, Vaga's oh." Like it was it was huge and I was sitting there like I didn't realize how strong those abilities are at low level. Like you wiped all that was like having access to Fireball at low level. Like
Yeah.
it was nuts.
I'm kind of surprised you never whipped that out in the fight against Caltrax or in that last fight. Like those like bigger team, like the bigger end fights, you didn't ever do that. And I was like, where's the cool laser beam though? Like let's just shut this down.
uh,
We don't have to fight.
well, it was a well for that well, one for that fight. I had used my channel divinity to turn undead, so I couldn't have done that even if I wanted to.
Hmm.
Uh,
Um, and it's like a 30-foot radius or something like that. So I would have had to get close, and I was trying to stay away and use my fireball and not break
I see. I see.
concentration.
Okay.
Which I had the fight like the flaming sphere this
That
entire
thing was
time, but I
dope.
didn't use it until like the last two battles because I liked using scorching ray more. But
Yeah.
yeah, no, Vaga's from this like Egyptian society where Kronos was sealed in an obelisk and it was shipped off because because like the elves were like, hey, let's send this to our brothers in the desert. That's far enough away, right? Vaga, he was a priest, but like he had like a family. He had a wife and a daughter, but he was like he was a bodyguard to the prince of this tribe. Um, but and then they had like an affair. And it was like the final like day when like Vaga was like, no, I need to end this. I can't be the prince's like paramour anymore. That's when we were attacked by this. Like we went to the cave where the obelisk was, and we fought this scarab that was protecting the obelisk from anyone trying to like release Kronos,
Yeah.
um, and to sort of save Sebek, the prince. I had like used the obelisk to kill it, so I killed the protector, and then I freed Kronos by doing that.
Wow.
Um, and then they found out, and I was exiled, and I was like, oh, I should get him back to fucking get my honor back, just uh, Prince Zuko this bullshit.
Yeah. So Kronos, all of Kronos was Vaga's fault. Like, but Kronos actually was a
I'm like, I can't let anyone know until it's too late because everyone's gonna be really fucking mad at me for doing that.
yeah, yeah, they would have been, yeah. But Kronos was actually more of a complication to Tresgar's plan. He did not intend for Kronos to be there, but he did recognize that Kronos had returned. So while you all have like that's you all's backstories, I'm gonna give you all the backstory of what happened beforehand with Tresgar and his plan. Everything was fine until the point hit where the horn became um, able to be taken. Right, the horn itself. So basically, the horn was supposed
Thanks.
to once hundreds of years had passed, the horn would have been purified enough by the river Tormag to be taken to Meron to Masor's grove and purified and destroyed forever. Right, that was the plan. Once it reached that point, Mehran woke up and started getting ready to do this thing. Right, at least that's kind of what I had in my head. Also, just in general, things are not as concrete in my head as they feel like when we're playing the game. Like I just want to be very clear about that.
That's
It's
a pretty
kind
good
of
job.
it's kind of
Yeah.
amorphy
I think they
warphy.
rarely are concrete.
But
And
Tres,
you got to be able to fluctuate.
yeah, cause of you all. But anyway, um, Tresgar found out about this, right? And this was a great opportunity because him and Calatrax have been worshippers of Orcus for some time, right? And they discovered that this opportunity finally came about. So his plan was Kronos is free again. I could send my people to just fucking go and get the horn. But if I do that, Kronos is going to be there and he's going to kill him. Vaga has been asking if anyone has heard about Kronos. If anyone could stop Kronos, it would be Vaga. And that is why he sent Tresgar to Vaga.
Hmm.
So that Tresgar and Vaga could go there. Worst case scenario, Tresgar gets possessed by Kronos. And,
You mean Hog?
sorry, Hog, yeah. Hog gets possessed by Kronos. And Kronos takes the horn. And Kronos is in charge. right? When the thaw happens. He doesn't care because Tresgar genuinely did not care who had the horn when the thaw happened. He just wanted to make sure someone had it so that someone was in control of the undead and they weren't just randomly going about doing stuff. So, worst case scenario, that happens. But he was pretty sure, because he had faith in Hog, he was pretty sure Hog was going to overcome Kronos. What he did not count on was one, the humans finding Mehron first and then saying, hey, let's have somebody tag along with you because I don't trust you, hence Braum. And he did not count on Milo at all. Right? That's why he was so upset at Milo because Milo was a direct servant of Mesor.
Right.
Right? Like that was the biggest complication and he would have loved to end
End
you
me.
completely before anything happened. I'm pretty
I'm a
sure.
little halfling. Why are you guys after me? I just have
Oh,
no
but you're
talking
such a
about.
problem. So that was his plan. Like his plan was Calatrax was supposed to find you all, but make you if you all had slowed down your paces at any point, right? And Calatrax would have actually caught up with you. Her job was not to kill you, but to first just kind of watch you all, let you get to the thing, and then overtake you. Right, to make sure what he planned happened, and then get the horn and go. Caltrax's goal was never to kill you all.
Hmm.
You all just assumed she was gonna. Calatrax, by the
Hey,
way, kind of liked Tresgar, kind of didn't. And
so we
Calatrax,
could have swayed her.
you could have. But at the same time, Calatrax also may have just killed you all because she has her own plans, right?
Yeah.
Calatrax kind of wanted that horn for her own self. While Tresgar
Yeah.
didn't
Because
care who had
I
it,
felt like it was weird to me that Tresgar would be a servant of Orcus with his backstory.
yeah,
I'm like, why wouldn't you destroy this horn? Like, I get that you want to control the undead, but like, if you hate the demonic necromancy so much, why wouldn't you want it to
Yeah.
be
it's
gone?
because he felt like Kronos used necromancy, but Kronos did not get his power from Orcus. Kronos got his power on his own.
Hmm.
Hmm.
So Tresgar believed that the reason why Tresgar's I mean not sorry why Kronos' power was so unruly and caused so much trouble is because it did not align with Orcus. And Orcus was battling against
Um.
Kronos the whole time. Kronos wants power for his own damn self. Kronos doesn't want to be a servant to anyone, right? Kronos is like, I
Right.
want to be king of all of life. So he is his own power. But that's why it's like that's why Tresgar believed that if you really wanted to control the undead in the crag, you had to ally with Orcus in order to do it. So that's what they were thinking. That's why they sent you all out on the missions. It, Tresgar was not a great person, but he was not a terrible person either. Like he wanted the crag to be unfrozen because
He was
he
he
saw
was a flawed hero. I mean, like in his own
Right. He
respect.
was Thanos.
Like, heroes
he's
are always story,
Thanosy, a
but
little
He was
Thanosy.
Thanos.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that's what they did. Um, I I wanted to I had no idea how you all were going to connect at all. No clue because I knew Brahm, Milo, and Vaga's stories first, and then and then Hog happened. And Trevor, you
Oh
were just
well,
the
for
saving
sure.
grace.
Just to part the veil a little bit, I was the slowest to respond. You were like, everyone send me your stories, and I definitely said mine last.
But gosh
But
darn
yeah,
it,
but yeah,
without
it's
his, I wouldn't
ridiculous.
have been able to make the whole arc. Like his story
Mm,
was definitely the
Yeah,
overarching arc,
yeah,
and it was I was able to pull everybody together. I think in D in general, I think in D&D, character based stories are more fun to me than me having like a plot or something and you all are just kind of in
yeah,
it.
fixed into it. Yeah,
Like I
absolutely.
definitely love knowing the characters first and then making the stories because I feel like we finished everyone's individual arcs in this story, and that's what
we
I thought
did.
was like great. I loved that because that was oh man, that's like writer euphoria when everybody's arcs were like closing out in the last 3 episodes. Everybody's
Hmm.
arcs are closing out, and I'm like, ah, it's great.
Yeah, man. I think whenever combat comes up, it always feels justified. Like, okay, well, we can't get
Hmm.
away. We can't um, deny that we should fight this thing now or this thing now or whatever. But whenever we have a session that's just like 100% RP or 100%, making plans or traveling or exposition or something like that, I love those sessions. I think I definitely play D&D more for the character building, the story building than the combat. But combat's cool too, so it's
I think after the
I'm.
first 3 sessions, I think most of the first 3 sessions there was like one combat, and the rest of it was you
yeah.
all like
Hmm.
getting to know each other and tying your stories together. And I
Mm,
think that really is what I loved so much because after you all were all on the same page, and I made and we took the time for everyone to get on that page, but once we were all there, like the story just went, and I loved it. It like just cruised along. It was good. It's really good.
How many fights do we avoid?
Oh, so many.
Because like I
But
was just thinking about like the
well,
campfire when where the guard like the people that were hunting found us and we were just camping in the middle of the
that wasn't
woods.
going to be a fight. Those guys were actually going to trade with you all. They had prime goods.
Oh wow!
You all
oh
just
whoops.
you all just didn't
Because he was making
want to
smoke
talk to him.
signals.
Yeah, because somebody was making weird smoke signals or something, and I was just like,
Oh yeah.
well, all right,
Right, oh, yeah.
they'd stop and investigate, I guess. But no, they're wolf riders. They were riding the giant timber wolves that lived in the crag. They had really good meat
I,
and supplies, is what they had.
Yeah, I
okay.
wish we'd have had enough
I
crack
was
cards to get one of them, the like one of the things to ride.
Yeah, you could have gotten riding wolves.
But we didn't have enough
oh
money like
whoops.
at any point.
No, you did not.
I don't know. Hey, that was a cool moment for Vaga. Just like hands are up, and it's just like, oh, you
Right?
can see really well in the dark. I say in Orcish.
Uh huh.
Yeah, you did pull that one.
That was a
Yeah.
good one because I'm like, he probably is gonna try. Like when you're just out in the waste, and I made it so okay. Also, this is a thing. Your travel, guys. I roll a d20. You only come across something if it's a 1 to 5. But you all came across so many things.
Like what? Like the
Like
wolf
like
thing.
the wolf
What?
pack. Remember the white wolf that
Yeah.
attacked you all? That was
Right.
one. The entire grove with the undead monstrosity that lived in it.
Because
That
I
was
was sitting there
because
cutting treetops.
some, why did you do that? Like everyone was saying, like, "Hey, there's a terrible undead presence beneath us." Maybe, and it's like, you know what I'm gonna do?
We need
You know what I
no
think this forest needs?
a trim.
Trimming. And you like it would not have bothered you if you had not touched any of the trees. You all would have
And
been
then
able
But
to
it
in the
got
sleep.
us
end,
ahead of
in the end,
schedule.
that undead monstrosity in the end was that thing that I thought with
No,
the axe when I went to the vision, but that
No.
wasn't it.
you haven't. I guess we haven't talked about the. Let's
We
go
haven't talked
bit
about
by
that
Not
yet.
bit. Let's go
really.
bit by bit. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Okay, we did backstories. First part was mostly you all just coming together. I had a really good time writing the poem on the axe.
Hmm.
That was a really good one.
Like I loved it because I had to have the rest of the story done before I could write that poem. Um, but travel up to the Bridge of Bouts, I think, was the first time we got to try out the travel rules, really. And it was a good time to see like the crag actually was dangerous. Just going through it day to day, you all could run out of food, right? You could run out of firewood. And
Hmm.
that was the first time I ever tried something like that, but it turned out to work pretty well. It gave you all a little bit of fear, which made the crag a lot more believable. But when you
Mm.
got to the Bridge of Bouts, there was so much in that town. I want to pull up. I don't know. I can share screens on this, I guess, right?
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
But oh, did I do? What did I do? Up, up,
Also, fellas, not to cut too short, I think I have about another half hour probably. Is that okay?
Yeah,
Is,
that makes sense.
is that okay? Okay, cool. So yeah, like when we were running away from this giant thing burrowing under the ground, like then we got pulled under because we rolled some bad rolls for jumping, and then we fell down underground, and then there's a giant undead thing that to me looks like Mehron, the spirit of Mehron, right? And I
That was a
assumed that was the
bearded
thing that was chasing
demon.
us.
That was a bearded demon
So
It was.
because we came up on that later.
the thing underneath the ground was
Mm-hmm.
But
a shambling mound,
Mm-hmm.
and that was a thing that I did not expect you all to actually come across at all. You came across it
Great, great
because
job, us.
I rolled on your travel for the next day. I rolled a natural one for encounters, and
Wow.
shambling mound is natural one. So it's you came across literally the worst thing you could come across in the crag. Because I was like, what's the worst thing ever? Like, what's the worst thing that could happen? But the shambling mound was a random encounter. It was not planned at all.
It
wow.
was
Mm-hmm.
effective in getting us all down to like 2 or 3 levels of exhaustion.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that one was bad. But I think that one was the only time where the actual exhaustion factor of the crag kicked in. It was after that happened, right? And then it just
Hmm.
made rest really important. Like it just
Yeah.
it just made it so it's like, hey,
Yeah.
we can't just keep doing this. Which we'll get to that as well. I thought you all were gonna do one thing, but you didn't. But it helped a ton. But it was just by luck. Anyway, I can't. I want to definitely talk about that. But when you all made it to Mespeak and Yornal, like the city between the two,
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I did not expect you all to spend as much time in Melthorn study as you did.
Mm.
But I
We got a
also
lot of information though.
you got a lot of information. I also did
Yeah.
not anticipate the usefulness of a library in a D&D game.
Uh,
Yeah. Well, I mean, like when you put players into mist, like throw them into a pool of mystery with no flipper. I'm trying to think of the metaphor got away from me, but like we are
No
just so
ores.
hungry for info that
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. It was like, and now he's like, yeah, tell me, I'll give you all the information. And you all, well, he was actually a dick. Actually, I remember now. He didn't want to give you all any
he was a dick.
information.
He didn't want to give us
He didn't.
anything until Trezor came in with money.
Yeah, Treasure
He was a
came in with
complete
all the money.
asshole.
But my
Yeah.
plan was you all were going to get there. You all were going to try to rest for the night. And I tried to make the Mesa side inn feel like, it's not really inviting. We'll kind of rest on the other side. And he was going to be waiting in the inn at the other side.
Hmm.
But you all spent so much time in the library. I'm like, well, he meets you in the library. And
Mhm.
because he would go to the library himself. So you all ran across him there. Also, the inn was just a DM shit show for me. I apologize if it felt half-assed, like there was nothing, like you all did not know what was gonna, why things were happening the way they were. It's because the inn entirely was improvised 100%.
The
The inn
are
you
you
all
saying
stayed in
In.
the
Urinal,
inn, the hotel inn, not
yeah,
end?
no,
Okay.
no, the hotel you all stayed in,
Right.
and there was like the tunnels underneath the hotel where the prostitutes could get to the
Yeah.
different rooms and all that stuff. I made all
Mhm.
that stuff on the spot. I had no idea any of that existed
Cool.
beforehand.
You did good, because I wouldn't have known.
Because I was like, because I knew in my head, the thing that also got me is somebody rolled like stupid high on their perception check to see the bird.
Yeah, it was
Mhm.
That
Milo, I
was
think.
That was
Yeah, because I was
Milo,
looking out
right?
the back
No,
window.
I think it was,
Or
no, it was Milo. And then Milo told Brom.
told everybody, yeah.
And Brom was like, oh, I recognize that fucking bird.
Yeah.
Wake
It
everybody
started, we
up.
started going from
And
there.
I started panicking. As a DM, I started panicking. Because I'm like, what happens if they reveal Tresgar right now? The
the whole
rest of
shit
the
show.
whole, like, the rest of the whole game is gone at that point. What do we do? And so I was losing it. But thankfully, one point that helped a ton was Hog. You rolled an insight check straight to Tresgar's face to see if he was lying to you. And Tresgar only has like a +2 to charisma,
Mhm.
and you rolled an 18 on the roll. I don't know if you remember this, but you rolled
Yeah,
an 18
I think
on your
so.
insight,
Yeah.
and he rolled a natural 20 on his deception.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
wow.
And it
Yeah.
was like, and I was like, I was so happy. But he rolled it. It
Yeah.
was like, but that also made it because you rolled so high. You were confident in your insight.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's kind of hard not to be confident in like an 18 insight, right? Though, like,
Yeah,
Yeah. Like, why wouldn't you be? Yeah.
but he rolled it, and I was like, and that's the point when he becomes the fooled. Like I was, that was it. Like that
Mhm.
was because there was no. It was just chance. It was just chance. And he just so happened to get around it. And then after that, there was the point with the zone of truth, and he realized that you all caught him communicating with the crow, right? And so he immediately wanted to throw shade towards the other people there, and he cast zone of truth to see about because he also had control of that halfling prostitute who I think was gonna kill you in your sleep if you had slept with that prostitute.
Yeah.
I think she would
Yeah.
have, but she didn't because you refused her.
Yeah.
But
never refuse a prostitute in D&D, bro.
Always refuse prostitutes, guy kids, okay? Always refuse prostitutes.
Let's get him. Listen to him.
Like how you guys just literally said the exact opposite thing.
Opposite,
Right,
right?
though?
Never refused a prostitute. Always.
always
Always
was a
refusing.
prostitute. But he cast Zone of Truth to try to get you all to believe him, but he cast it on himself first and passed. But then Brom did that sick baller move, and he was stuck where he couldn't like, oh, he couldn't like lie because he looked at Brom, and I had him roll insight to see if he could tell how much Brom knew. But he looked at Brom like, he knows the truth. And if right now I don't say the truth, they will know I'm not under the spell zone of truth.
Hmm.
So he didn't. And he told everybody that part. And so that kind of like, that was a sticky spot. Um, yeah. I think for a second I imagined there was another person outside who was invisible, who was sneaking around, but I figured like that would make sense, and so there was some part with some footprints that was in there that led
Yeah.
out to somewhere. I think that was the prostitute that actually ran away, but at the same
That's what
time,
I
I
took
was
it
thinking
as.
like it was weird. I that was to be honest, I fudged some
I
bits in
could
that part.
I
I don't think it was all legit
I
how
could
that
I
turned
could
out.
totally tell that you wanted us to like drop this investigation
Mm-hmm.
because you were like, I mean, I could just tell. I was just like, oh, okay, we're not gonna find them. Let's move on.
I appreciate
So
that. That was tough
the
because I
next
had nothing. I
question,
had nothing.
really, what I want to know from there though is what was said behind between Vaga
Oh
and
yeah,
because like that I don't know
Hmm.
that yet. Like that was the you kicked us all out.
I did. Vaga, what was that conversation like?
So that conversation was I was digging deeper into clues about Kronos, and I wanted to do it alone because I was like, okay, I was asking Tresgar about his relationship with Kronos and like what he knew about him and like if he was there when the elves captured him and like how did they do it? 'Cause I wanted to know, like, hey, I'm gonna need to do this, but I didn't tell him that. I was there were like moments where I was like, wow, I could have like told him what I wanted to do, but then I didn't do it.
Mm.
But see,
I don't know if that would have affected
It still would have
the
helped, right?
outcome.
Like based on like
uh
because he
huh.
didn't want Kratos out alive anyhow, so he still would have he probably would have been even happier, knowing that one Kronos was out and two that we were going to take care of him.
Yeah.
Yes, that is why he told you to use your holy symbol. That's why he tried to give you as much information as he could because he did want you to capture
Mhm.
Kronos.
Mhm.
Yeah.
He was trying to be as helpful as possible, actually, at that point.
Hmm. Well, there was also the human guard in the room,
Yeah, there
and
was.
yeah, that adjusted my speech a lot.
Yeah. That was a really
Yeah, that's what
like
that conversation was.
knowing now what you know about Tresgar, that was a really dangerous conversation. Because at some point, if it had slipped or gone the wrong way, or you'd have insight checked him, because you never insight checked him in that room, you just talked
Mm.
because he was telling you all the stuff you wanted to know.
Mhm.
But if ever you insight checked him, he would have killed you in that room.
He would have tried to.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, he would have 100% tried to kill him in that room. So I'm sitting here like I was like sweat on my brow because I'm sitting here like he is alone right now with Tresgar. Tresgar BT Dubs is a level 5 paladin.
Oh
I
wow.
knew it the second you said he's going to go back there and play like do lay on
Yeah,
hands. I thought that was
Ah.
going to die, right? Like when I ran up to him initially, I was like, it's going to be like when I fought Caltrax. It's going to be a couple like shield bashes in the face. Wham bam, thank you, man. Moving on. You're like he lays on hands, and I was like, I've only ever heard of a paladin laying on hands,
yeah,
motherfucker.
yeah. He was a level 5 paladin. If you had been caught off guard and he'd have hit you one time, he'd just pumped a smite into it. He gets
Oh
two
fuck
attacks
yeah,
a turn. He would just pump smites into it and rock you.
Wow.
yeah.
One hit from a level 5 paladin is at a level 2 smite.
Yeah.
That's Vaga
And we were
out.
on
And
we
y'all were
would have
all
been level
Well,
asleep.
3 at that
He
point.
would
yeah.
have took both y'all out and then cast Crown of Madness on the human guard in the room to have him beat you to death. So the next day,
Mhm.
or whenever you all heard the ruckus and came in, you would have seen the human guard beating up Vaga. And Tresgar trying to get the human guard off of him.
To be fair though, I still watch.
Yeah,
Had
you were
I
right
kind of
outside. That's
I
also
was
the
gonna say,
reason why he was very nervous
Mhm.
as well, because he knew you were right outside, so he
like
didn't
had
want
I
to
heard
do it.
anything, I was going right through that door.
Yeah.
Wait, another question I never asked, Kyle. What class was
Oh
your
yeah.
classes from?
I was a fighter.
The fighter with spells,
Eldritch Knight.
Eldritch Knight.
Yeah,
Okay.
I
Yeah,
was
Eldritch
Eldridge
Knight.
Knight.
Yeah.
Now, also, he was a human variant who took the Tavern Brawler feat as his
Yep.
starter. So his unarmed attacks do 1d4. but and he also can like bonus action grapple if he hits you or something like that. But the most important thing is you get proficiency with improvised weapons.
That was so clutch. Like all game,
Yeah.
randomly throwing gin bottles and shit. Like being able to
Yes.
hit them with like my fire bolts. Like
And that's what I
oh
thought was like very useful for somebody who lives in the crag for that very
yeah,
visceral feel of
Being
just
able to take
I pick up
anything and
anything and
work
I
with it.
use it. Yeah, but it also
Yeah.
allowed him to use his shield as a weapon because it's an
yeah,
improvised weapon.
yeah.
Because a shield
Mm.
isn't a weapon and you wouldn't normally have
Right.
proficiency with it. But because he has that feat, it's improvised weapon now and he can use it to attack people.
But I also like
Nice.
all the spells that I took were very like what was it? Absorb elements,
Uh
which I
huh.
mean obviously in the crag. Long strider, so I could run faster and further, and jump, so I could like triple anybody's jump. And then
Yeah.
Yes.
firebolt. I had two cantrips, firebolt and light,
Mm hmm.
because human.
Because human, right?
They're all very
Right.
like
Yeah.
they're all like very survivally like militaristic style like like
Spell.
fighter
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
things. So it stayed true to who he would be, but it opened up that class much more than just like, oh, I'm gonna hit you with a sword.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I liked it a lot. And it also comes with the ability to call a weapon back to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
Weapon.
shield. Hold it. That
Yeah.
what did he kill?
Bro,
Yeah.
He put his hand on
it
the
was the
back of the
mimic.
dude's head and
No,
like
it
he
was
The
pulled the
mimic,
shield back.
bro.
Calatrax. Calatrax, he
Yes.
pulled the shield
Oh, the
through it.
counter.
But
Back
that,
to your
okay,
face.
technically you can't do that. But because he did a shield bash and it killed her, and it was like, how do you want to do this mode? I
Yeah.
we let it happen. It's fine.
Yeah.
But
But it was still cool.
but it
I
was
think the most clutch was the mimic fight because
oh yeah.
Hog's losing his harpoons left and right, throwing them into a mimic, and I'm just like, and return, and bash,
And
and return,
bash.
and bash, and return,
Yeah.
and like that was actually really
It
clutch.
was. It's very useful because
I
as a
was in
bonus
work
action
with
you could just whoop,
Mhm.
yep.
it's clutch. I'm glad that you got to use that as much as you did. That was pretty
I
great.
that was a really fun. That was really fun. So it's just being able to cast Fireball. I remember the first time I was like, and Firebolt, and Hog's like,
What?
Wait,
Yeah.
Wait, what?
and I
like
love
you?
that. And Braum doesn't talk much at all, so it was totally in character for Hog to not know he could do that,
I know.
right?
Yeah.
And Hog would probably not use it to like start a campfire. He probably would just pull out his little tinderbox and start a campfire normally.
We were doing that to start a fire, and it's like,
The pyre.
Do you want to like start this? And I was like, no.
Yeah.
Yes, nah. Like you have a
Nah.
box.
Oh,
Nah.
Oh, that was so fun.
um, I would
That
say
was. I was just gonna say, like, I really had enjoyed like everybody like staying dedicated to being in character.
yeah,
I think out of all of the D&D, even just the one shots that I've played, this is the most in character I've been consistently. And I think the only reason I was able to do it so well, I didn't do it as well as everybody else, but like the only reason I was able to stay the course well was because nobody else broke character.
yeah. Everybody
Like
was really good at
you'd
that.
say like, okay, this is Trevor Askin, or like this is Kyle, but like it wasn't like. I mean, normally when I'm playing Crook and I'm talking to a Pele, he's like, I don't know if it's Crook or Kyle half the time. Like I
Right.
do a very poor job of like communicating who's who or differentiating them. So I really enjoyed that. It was something that I'm gonna have to try more often. But
Yeah. Um,
mm,
the
Oh,
one
so
big thing that I wanted to talk about before we disconnect is the David because we never got to like deal with that whole thing and Merrick Two Gears. I wanted to make sure I mentioned that. But go, Raymond, you were about to say something. Go ahead.
oh, and I was on the voices thing. The voice for Milo actually is a voice that I use with my daughter when we FaceTime on Facebook. They have like the little the faces that you can put on your, you know what I'm saying, little
Hmm.
yeah,
emoji things,
Oh,
and
okay.
it's the little bubble guy with the glasses. He makes you look like a little chipmunk nerd. Like that's the voice that I use when we have our story time.
What do they call
And
them? Is it like a filter? Like
yeah,
a
like filters. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
okay.
Yep. But that's where. So when she was here that one time, she was like, "Why is Timmy talking to them?" Like that's Timmy. Like that's where the voice came from.
That's
You and I have two
adorable.
very different ideas of
Uh,
who Timmy is, by the way.
Oh
At
yeah.
this point
Oh
in our life,
yeah.
right.
Oh wow.
no, no,
No.
Timmy is not here. There are plenty of bad things in the Crag, but it's not Timmy.
Not here.
I
I
don't think
flew through
everybody
Blood
knows.
And Joe,
Rain.
Joe
I
and
think
Raymond
just
definitely had
Crook
the.
has a bad experience with Timmy. I don't
I
think the
flew
rest of
through
y'all.
Blood Rain.
It was raining blood. It was really bad, but that's a whole nother story. Timmy is the worst. But let's just Timmy's the
Trevor,
worst.
what are you saying?
Oh, I was just saying that Joe, you and Raymond both had the most like the clear identifiable character voices.
Oh yeah.
Mine was sort of like if I said something and someone was like, "Did Hawk or Trevor say that?" I could be like, Trevor said that in a deep voice." But it was hard sometimes. Like I'd start to say something like, "I don't really want to do." No, no, I don't really want to do that. So, but yeah, I think picking a character voice is hard. Sometimes you can always
Yeah.
throw like uh, a European accent in there or something. Or actually, you said you were going for Egyptian or I mean, it's hard. I
Yeah,
mean,
I was
Greek
just going.
accents.
Yeah, I was going for like a Middle Eastern kind of thing. It kept slipping into Eastern European by mistake.
I liked when it came out Russian. Wait, what was
A
the
little
thing you
bit.
said? You said a Russian thing at the end. You were like, I meant that. Oh man, there was a line. I was like, yeah. Oh, it was something about the bottle of alcohol that we threw. Oh man,
Oh yeah, I was just like, I'm not trying to sound Russian, but
we'll find it.
I
We'll
don't
find it in
remember.
post.
Don't waste it.
We'll play it back. Yeah.
We'll play it back. We'll play it back. But I did very much so enjoy y'all's character voices. I try to do them, but there's so many, and I only
Well,
have
that's
so
all.
much variation in my
That's
life.
the thing is that an accent does it for sure, and like speaking
Hmm.
gently can do it as well, or the way Milo did it, which is that exactly is so clear in exactly what it is. But also, I love the way Merrick Two Gears his character voice wasn't so much a voice; it was like a way of speaking, where like as soon as like the words he used with the bass, but also everything
Basically,
in between as soon as you heard him talking, you're like, oh, that's Merrick. And I love that when you can find a creative way to make a character voice without necessarily having to do the accent or the deep voice or
so
yeah.
Merrick Two Gears came about because I was playing Final Fantasy VII with with David, my little brother, and he was playing it. And there's Barrett, the black guy with the gun for an arm, and I was
No,
like,
Yeah.
yeah.
I really like that voice, but I don't want to use his voice. It's weird, and I don't think it fits exactly. I wanted something to say, and Oksana was like, "Well, at my work, there's this person who just says basically all the time,"
Uh-huh.
and I thought like,
Nice.
there's a level of condescension that I wanted Merrick Two Gears to have, where he kind of looks down on you a little bit for not being as smart as him, and I felt like he always would try to dumb everything down, right? Like basically this is it. And just got into the habit of doing that so much over his 200 years of life that he just starts every sentence with basically and ends it with basically. And it
I
made
love
for
when
a
Hawk
very
tried to
unique
be
character.
funny. When Hawk tried to be funny and basically Merrick back, and he was like, "Oh fuck that."
Yeah,
He was
Right.
like, "No, no,"
no,
like shut Hawk down immediately.
no, he
Basically, I'm gonna kick your ass.
Right.
Basically.
basically.
Basically. Basically.
But Merrick was I liked the character a lot. Like if there was a
Were you
character that
saying
I would take out of the Crag and play it somewhere else, it would be Merrick Two Gears. Just because
but
him like with his little mechanic armadillo familiar and just like his whole shtick, I liked a lot.
What is up
What
with
would he
the
be like an
armadillo?
artificer?
He was a wizard, but he
A
was a
wizard?
rock gnome wizard, and rock gnomes get to make a automaton as part of their race.
Mm.
And he made an automaton, and I just let him use that as his familiar instead of an actual familiar. So he, but he, a lot of people died. So basically, darn it. That's another
Hey, to
thing
each
that's
his
gonna
own,
stick
man.
around for a bit. Oksana
Mm.
hates it because she gave me the idea, but at this point she hates it. But Calitrax uses the Bridge of Bouts throughout the war. The Order of the Undead would use the Giant's Bridge to still do their business. And their business during the war and their desire for more war came from there's lots of corpses that we can use for stuff, right? Like the
Mm.
more corpses there are, the more necromancy I can do. And so they were very pro war and not pro peace. So once the Day of the Dead happened, they hated it. But what you would do is you would take a person across the Bridge of Routes and give that person to the David as a sacrifice. The David would eat
Yeah.
that person and let you all go. But the David's job, the David was actually charged by good forces to make sure people did not mess with the bridge, with the Giant's Bridge. Right? He did not want anybody to just use the Giant's Bridge because it's a very powerful. It's a frost giant, by the way. That's what it is statted as. It's an undead
Oh.
frost giant.
The David being not the bridge itself, but the thing on the bridge.
The David is a frost troll that lived in the swamp around the Giant's Bridge.
Okay.
So
Mm.
you all never went there because because you listened to Merrick Two Gears, who said don't go
Yeah.
there, and you all were just like, oh yeah, that because my goal was, and this was it was my plan was for you all to investigate the bridge, get to the bridge, and fight Calitrax and the army on the bridge.
With the
Mm-hmm.
troll?
Kill the troll first. I thought you were gonna kill the troll first and then check out the bridge. And that's why I was
That was
kind of
my goal.
using the bridge as like a red herring, but you all caught on
Mm.
to it. It didn't go there. But that's what allowed you to get to the tomb way before Calitrax caught up. Because you all never investigated the David. You just skipped that whole thing and just left.
Wow.
Mm.
So if you all had gone there, I was expecting a fight over the River Tormag on the back of an undead frost giant between Calitrax and the Bronze Knights. Like that was the fight that I
Wow.
wanted to happen
Me
when I
too.
made the bridge, because the bridge doesn't care. It would pull whoever it is up there off, and that's what I was leveling the Bronze Knights for that, because the giant could just pull them off, right? And it wouldn't matter how many
Mm-hmm.
hit points they had or how strong they were; they would die from a giant's crush, and they would be trying to get and maneuver the Bronze Knights into death by frost giant. But that didn't happen. You all just left,
I mean, like,
which
yeah,
is
when a
which is
character tells
fine.
us like this is a place of mystery, then we'll be like, okay, we might explore that. But when the NPC is like,
You're all
y'all
gonna
gonna
die.
die,
Yeah,
we'll be like,
You're all gonna die.
well, you'll go the other way.
yeah. Merrick
Mm.
also has sent a lot of, because Merrick is from Pickaroo, the gnomish town, and so Merrick had
Mm-hmm.
sent a lot of people to find the Giant's Bridge over a long period of time. All of them have died. The David killed all of them, and so he was getting tired of sending young men to their deaths.
I love the name, not just this, the name the David, but like what I love is when something organically, not just like as a joke that a DM throws in, but when something organically has like a really funny name, but it's a very serious issue.
Mm.
Like when you can organically in a story have a giant like legendary troll that like could destroy the world be named the David. It's fucking awesome.
I think
Yeah.
it's great. I named it
Yeah.
because my brother said the creepiest thing in any game is a troll. And my brother's
Uh
name is David. And I was like, well, he does guard the giant.
huh.
So
And your brother's kind
David,
of a troll sometimes. So,
Yeah, my
Is it that
brother
tier?
hates trolls. My brother is terrified of
Oh,
trolls,
he's trolls.
and so I named the troll after him because I'm an asshole. But but he was just
Bridge.
like I. It's a
Also, my
Goliath.
brother's a bridge, but
There's a bridge. It's a Goliath. He's the David. Sure, but the David was the guardian of the Goliath, and
mm,
that's why he had come to call himself the David. So just
mm,
random. I don't know. I mean, there's no Judeo-Christian.
fantasy Bible,
Yeah, there's no fantasy
right?
Bible, but it's fine. I kept the name just because it was named after my brother, and I figured I'm just gonna keep it there. So,
Nice.
but yeah, you all skipped that. Calatrax was pissed. She never caught up to you all. She was supposed to catch up to you all. She never did. And you all find apparently, yeah, you all finding the weird thing in the what's it called? The giant shambling mound. You all
Yeah.
Mm,
finding that sped up your travel by so much, I couldn't justifiably have Calatrax catch you all. Right?
Oh,
There was
because they're
unless
like
she was literally
tired,
like
great.
surfing the mound,
yeah, and they're all like
you
wearing
know?
bronze armor and stuff, so they can't travel fast
Right.
anyway. So I was like, "There's no way they catch him now." Like after you all fell in the crevasse, remember me being like, "Oh man!" It wasn't because I was worried about you all falling in the crevasse and dying. It was because I knew you all had made so much time that Calatrax would
Mm,
not be able to catch up at this point unless something else happened.
mm.
I fell and passed out. I was definitely worried about dying.
I mean, you all were very worried about dying,
Oh yeah.
but you all did die. I didn't. I'm
It's
not gonna
like,
kill
oh,
you all in a
if I
random.
die,
Oh
no
yeah,
more healing spells.
no
Oh yeah.
more
If you
healing
had died, it would have
spells.
been over.
Nah, you can just take a short rest. You'll be fine. But
Wow.
Dude,
as
Apelles,
long
thank you so much again. I do have to head out soon.
I
I'm
know,
getting
I think
the
that's
end of
it.
my
Is there
rope, but
any last things you wanted to say or mention or any last questions? Because after this, I'm done with the Crag. It's over. So,
yeah.
is there any
Well,
last questions you had, Trevor, before you sign off at all?
I don't,
Any
I
last
don't
things
think
you want
so.
to
No, I
discover?
asked a lot of. I had a lot of questions. I think I've asked most of them.
Awesome.
It was good to part the veil and see what was going on. All the gears, the cogs, us, the cogs
Hmm.
in this machine.
Yeah, it was
Fun,
fun.
man.
It was
Awesome.
really fun.
Thank you so much. Thanks all you guys. Much love
Yeah.
Thank
and thanks for your
you,
patience.
Thank
brother.
Can't wait.
you.
Yeah.
Here.
Cannot wait till the next
Yeah,
time.
I'll see you guys online again eventually, and Apelles, and you got a baby on the way, but I mean like it's not the end of D and D. It's just gotta take a baby break, but
I
we'll
mean,
have more chances.
yeah. It's more.
All right, guys,
You all take care. I
have a good
think I'll just
afternoon.
stop the recording here as well, so we can stay on and chat. But thank you all very much. We will sign off, and yeah, love you all very much. If ever you have
All
any
right, and
questions,
don't
try to
die.
text me. Don't
Right.
die.
Don't die.
Instead, not don't die. Live.
Mm, live.
All right.
Do not
Awesome.
survive. Thrive.
Okay.
Hell yeah. All right, guys, catch you on the flip.
See ya.
Later, man. Get some rest.
Hi, Trevor.
Bye bye.
I did stop the recording. That was a ruse.
I was gonna say I have dinner plans, so I have to split at 7 as well.
Okay,
But
I'm going to stop the recording then. Bye bye, everybody.
is this another, wait, is this another ruse?
I'm just really tired, and I want to stop.
Yeah, it makes sense.
On the other hand, I will catch you all a week
I
from
let.
today.
Oh yeah.
A week
If
from
y'all are
today.
running in limbo knots, it's gonna be a week
Oh
from
yeah.
today, and
Oh,
that
I
one's
can't
gonna
wait.
be a doozy. I um, oof, that one can
How
be.
did you
That one
interview
could
have
be
that day,
really
Hellies?
bad. Like, cause there's one choice you all can make that could just ruin that whole shit. But
God damn it.
I'm gonna stop the recording and love you.